Yo guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. So, as you can see by the title, I thought it was best and it was important for me to do a little bit of a video talking through some hints and tips on how you can best homeschool your children. Now, before we get into it, this is not going to be a video of me telling you how to teach your children. It's not even really going to be a video telling you what to teach your children, because it depends on their age and it depends on where you live and where you're from as to what your children would be normally learning in school. What this video is more going to be about is a selection of hints and tips, strategies to help ease your children into the homeschool environment. Now, if you think from your child's perspective, to them, school is where they learn, okay? School is where they go in, they get taught by their teacher, they sit down, they have their school friends there, they learn, they get supported, and then when they go home, that is when they relax, they see their family, they see their friends, they play, they go to bed, they eat dinner, they watch TV, and they relax. So bringing school life, minus their friends, minus all of the fun environment that is school with all of the learning walls and the playground, you are then forcing one life into another. And for some children, or for a lot of children, that's going to be really difficult for them to understand, and the transition can be quite stressful and frustrating for everybody involved. So the intention of this video is to give you some hints and tips as to what I would do as a teacher to ease a child into a sort of homeschool environment so that they get the most out of you and they get the most out of their homeschooling, and you get the most out of it too without it being too stressful, and for all parties to be happy and for you to maintain your relationship without people throwing things around and getting really stressed. So that's the intention. Alright guys, without further ado, let's get into the video. Okay guys, so tip number one is all to do with the length, the duration of time that you're expecting your children to work. Now, I would personally advise or recommend that you don't expect any more than 30 minutes of work, maybe 40 depending on your child, in one sitting. Okay, keep the lessons that you're doing with them short and sweet. Alright, you are going to get so much more out of your children if they are enjoying their learning than if they feel like you're forcing them to learn at home. Alright, lessons at school, there's lots of interactive activities going on, they've often got lots of teachers, they've got lots of their friends around them, you're playing things on the whiteboard for them, you're regularly stopping and talking to them, they've got their learning walls around them. When they're at home, they've got lots more distractions. They've got family members coming in and going out, they've got the TV, they've got their books, their iPads, whatever else around them. So keep it short and sweet, focus them on, and then once they've done that piece of work, reward them. Allow them to watch their favourite program, allow them time on the iPad to colour, to do a book, whatever. If you do that, they'll be fully focused, they'll know that they've got this specific period of time, they'll put more effort into it, and you'll end up with a happier child. Last thing you want is to have a frustrated child and to put pressure on your relationship right at the beginning of this homeschool period. So short and sweet, and you'll be onto a winner. Alright guys, so the second thing is all to do with their workspace. Now, admittedly, lots of people work in different ways. Some people like to sit on the floor, on their bed, on the sofa, at a table. My suggestion to you would be to set aside a space purely for learning and for teaching. Okay, it's very difficult, and I think you will understand this from an adult's perspective, to stay focused and stay concentrated on something when there's lots of other things going on. If you're sitting at home and you're by yourself, you probably would gravitate towards sitting at a table somewhere, or maybe a little office if you've got the space at home. Alright, if you're just putting your child down on the side and someone's watching TV, someone's cooking in the kitchen, there's lots of distractions going on. So if I were you, reserve a small space and have that as their school space. That's where they're going to work. Okay, remember, you're investing a lot of time and effort into your child whilst you're homeschooling them, so having a dedicated area for them to work will be good for you, and it will also give them a sense of pride because that will be their workstation. Let me give you an example. So let's say I have, and I don't have any children, but let's say I had a child and I was getting them to do homeschool work. Now I could sit them at the table, excuse the mess. Alright, so I could sit them at the table here, but if you look, I've got pictures on the wall, okay? I've got the window behind that is potentially letting in light, okay? I've got a printer down there that could potentially go off, all right? The chairs might not be particularly comfortable. Not only that, if I turn around, I could sit them on the sofa, but I've got the TV there, all right? I have a tablet, I've got my laptop, I've got a phone going off, all right? Also, and I live in a flat, I've got my kitchen just there, so there's lots of areas, lots of distractions. If you set up aside, and this could even be in their bedroom, a small space, a little table, a little desk, a little chair, you put maybe some little posters up of educational things, some times tables, some spelling stuff, that will be their specific area away from any distractions to do their work. And then once they've done their work, they can come and they can play on the tablet or they can watch the TV. It just provides a little bit more focus and it takes away those temptations. Alright guys, now we come on to tip or piece of advice number 3. Nobody said that learning has to be boring. You don't have to sit your child down with a pen and a paper and expect them to write or to do calculations. Learning can be fun, and I encourage you, for your own sanity as well as theirs, do some fun activities with them. Go on Google, find learning games. That's what teachers do. Okay, I can tell you now, insider tip, teachers will use the internet as like for their sanity. They'll use it to find games. They'll use it to support their teaching. Okay, Pinterest, all sorts of things like that. YouTube, there will be loads of things out there for you to steal. So make the most of them. There is no reason why you can't play a maths game with your child rather than expecting them to write things down. Alright, if you have a garden, why don't you go out with some water or chalk and draw on the patio? Why don't you get some water and get them to draw with water on the wall? Alright, maybe not inside, but out in the garden. Okay, if you live in a flat, not everyone lives in a house with a garden. Alright, you can get them to do a really good one for spellings is to do spelling Scrabble. Okay, so write down the alphabet next to each letter, give them a numerical value, give them a number. They then have to figure out which of their spellings is worth the most, which is worth the biggest, has the value the most based on the numbers that you've got. So there are lots of ways that you can interact with your child and you can engage your child in the subject or the topic that they would have been studying at school in a fun environment, in a fun way. Okay, so think outside the box. Don't expect them to just sit there and to write, because in schools they don't. I play loads of games with my kids in my class, so try and have fun with it. And also, like I say, it will help you bond with your child and it will be fun for you as well as it will be for them. Alright guys, tip number 4. Make sure that your children know what you're going to be doing with them every single day. Now, obviously, I know lives are busy and these are very uncertain times, so you might not necessarily know exactly what you're going to be doing every single day, but for your children's benefit, when you're homeschooling them, make sure that they understand and they know what they're going to do and roughly when they're going to do it. Alright, perfect opportunity if you've got a whiteboard around your house, or if you can draw some little pictures, stick them on the fridge. Go through and tell them, right, we're going to start off this morning after breakfast, we're going to do a bit of maths, we're going to then do some art, after lunch we're going to do a bit of literacy or English work, and then this afternoon we're going to go in the garden and we're going to do a bit of sport, and we're going to maybe do some yoga, or we're going to do a little bit of gymnastics or dance or whatever it might be. Alright, lay it out, because that's what we do in school. So in school, down my whiteboard, I have a list of activities we're going to do each day. We're going to come in, we're going to do some reading, we're going to register, we're going to go to assembly, we're going to do maths and literacy and so on. It just means that the children are comfortable and they know exactly what they're going to be doing. If you're uncertain of what you're going to be doing, it leaves people a bit frustrated or stressed, and it leaves them a bit uneasy. Think of it in your well. If you have no idea what you're going to be doing every single day, but you know that you're going to be expected to do something, you can get a bit anxious about it, and it leaves you in these unfamiliar ground. So make sure that your children are really clear of what they're going to be doing each day. Alright guys, tip number 5 is make sure that you provide your children with some variety. Alright, it's really important that they have a variety, or they're learning a variety of things throughout the day. In school, we typically do maths and English in the morning. After lunch, we then do one of the foundation topics. These could be history, geography, science, all those sciences usually and often, and I consider it to be a core subject, but that's often done in the afternoon as well. PE, art, DT, any sort of slightly what might be considered slightly more fun or interesting topics. Make sure that you're teaching your children those as well. Okay, get them in the kitchen, do some cooking with them, teach them how to sew or how to knit, do some painting with them, maybe get them up and do some singing with them. If you've got an instrument around, maybe have a little play around on a guitar, or if you have access to a tablet, play GarageBand or Twitch. I think it's Twitch. There's many apps that you can teach children how to code and to look at computers. Maybe get them on a laptop and type up a little poem. Alright, get them to do lots of different things other than just English and maths, because it will help them with their overall development. So yeah, spread it out throughout the day, have some fun with your children, but teach them variety. It's really important. Okay guys, and the last piece of advice I'm going to give you, and this is kind of more me wrapping this video up, is use this opportunity to reconnect with your children, okay? Use it to go over the things and to do the things that you have always wanted to do with your children, but maybe you felt you've never had the time or the opportunity to. These are naturally very uncertain times. As adults, we are nervous, we're stressed, it's a very testing time, and we have very complex emotions as humans, and as adults we understand those emotions a little bit more. But as I'm sure you can imagine, and it depends on the age of your child, your children probably are feeling all these emotions, but they don't know how to process them, they don't understand them. This is very uncertain times, and when there's uncertainty, that leads to anxiety, stress, frustration, and we want to try and make this the least frustrating period for our children as possible. And so really try and engage with them, be open with them, be honest with them, talk with them, and try and have fun with them. You know, they're at home with you for potentially quite a long time. So do your best to really engage with your children and to have fun with them. I'm going to wrap this video up now, guys. I hope you guys have enjoyed it and you found it beneficial. If you have, please hit that like button. Comment down below if you want me to talk about anything else. My intention, while school is not as busy and my school has changed so that we're going to be working week in, week out, and we've obviously only got key workers in school now, so that's dropped the number of children quite dramatically. I'm going to be intending to try and put out more videos to support you guys through this period. That might include games, that might include me going into the kitchen and talking about recipes that you could potentially do with your children, methods of teaching your children, how to support them through this period of time. Yeah, so keep an eye on this channel and I will be doing my best to get those out to you as soon as possible. Right, keep safe, keep healthy, try to avoid going outside at all costs, and let's try and get through this together. Alright guys, have a good one, see you soon. Peace!